Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do this all the time in our full-length video reviews of cars. We stop halfway through and answer your questions from Instagram. It's called Questions.Coffee and Cars. So presto, we made a standalone segment. How do you take part, Andrea?
Well, it's been so popular, which is why we did it. I put a post out on Instagram with Zach and I holding a coffee and asked for your questions. It stays up for 24 hours and then we take it down once we get all your questions. If you're not on Instagram, no worries. Just enjoy this segment and all the questions that have been put forward. If you do have a question, Zach does a live show every Sunday on YouTube.
Don't forget to super chat. All right, let's get into it.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
I really don't know why the flagship CRV doesn't get the newest, larger screen from the Accord. Surely a deal breaker for a lot of buyers. For me, it would be worth it to just wait.
Oh, I think you're going to be waiting a while. I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
It takes Honda a while to update their model. So I agree.
So just want to, like you'd have to wait for a mid-cycle refresh, which will be 4 years.
For sure. So I don't really get it either, but I can even take it one step further with the Pilot, which is a much bigger vehicle than the CRV. So all of them come standard with a 7-inch touchscreen. But
7 inches?
Yes, but the Pilot and CRV get an available 9-inch. This Accord that just came out gets an available 12.3-inch touchscreen. Now, you would think that at least they would give that to the Pilot if they're not giving it to the CRV. And one other thing to add as well is that the Accord comes standard with a 10.2-inch digital driver display. That's available on the Pilot on the top trim.
Okay, Andrea, let's just do some quick math here. What's selling? SUVs or cars?
SUVs.
What's not selling? SUVs or cars?
Cars.
What do they need to gin to get people to buy them?
A little extra.
A little extra for what? The car or the SUV?
Yeah, for the car.
That's exactly what they're up to. And they also know there's all kinds of espionage that happens in the car business. They know that Toyota is coming out with an updated Camry. So they must know something we don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's getting a bigger screen.
Maybe it's going to be side wall-to-wall.
Giant. I guess we'll wait and see on that one. We ordered a Venza XLE in February, and it's almost our turn in the order list. Hooray. Is it worth ordering the CRV Hybrid instead?
No.
Which is better in your opinion?
Listen, you're at the finish line. I don't understand that. Okay, you've ordered a Venza, and it's just about to come in. Just before it comes.
I know.
You know what that is, Andrea? They're just bored.
Bored? Do you think it's boredom?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe you're like waiting. I don't know. I would just take the one that you can get right now.
I think the Venza is better. Better fuel economy.
Yeah, but also, you know what? I think you can get a CRV Hybrid.
You know why?
That's the thing.
Because they're overcharging for it.
You guys let me know if I'm wrong on that. I hear there isn't much of a wait time for the CRV Hybrid. So I pulled some numbers. The CRV Hybrid is just under $51,000 Canadian. Now, keep in mind that includes the freight and delivery, levies, just no taxes.
I never thought CRV and $50,000 would ever be in the same sentence in my life.
And now the Venza XLE is just under $50,500 Canadian. So these are Canadian numbers we're using. So yes, Zach, you're totally right. You get better fuel economy with the Venza. 5.9 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 6.4 on the highway, and a combined 219 horsepower for the Venza. So you get less horsepower, 204 combined for the CRV. And the CRV gets 6 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 6.9 on the highway, which we were not getting.
No.
I want to add that as well. So here are a couple things. The XLE model of the Venza doesn't get the bird's eye view camera if you're interested in that. The 12.3-inch digital driver display, the head-up display, or a moonroof, or that panoramic fixed glass roof. But you do get the 12.3-inch touchscreen and the JBL sound system. There are no heated rear seats in the Venza at all. So the CRV Touring model, that top trim, does not get ventilated front seats, a panoramic sunroof, or a 360 camera. So I would definitely, I'm with Zach. I'd go with the Venza. Do you have plans to review the Toyota CHR? Now, I heard Toyota is eliminating that out of their lineup.
Well, what's coming? The Corolla Cross and the Corolla Cross is in market now, and the Corolla Cross Hybrid. The CHR sold well during last year when they had no inventory, because people would come in and go, no, RAV4, yeah, I don't have one of those. I want a Venza, yeah, I don't have one of those. What do you have? We got a CHR. Do you want that? And they're like, okay, we'll take it. I read a study that the CHR has the highest dissatisfaction.
Yeah, people are unhappy.
People bought it and were like, what the hell did I do that for? If it was me, I'd just get the Corolla Cross.
So I don't think we'll be reviewing the CHR.
Well, not now.
No. With concerns over battery longevity and repair costs, do you think it's better to lease an EV? I think so.
Well, the other thing is you get guaranteed residual value. When you sign that document, you know exactly what the vehicle is worth at the end of the 3 or 4 year lease term.
Yeah.
It's already predetermined. So you have some safety there. If anything happens, at least you're covered.
Yeah, these are all new vehicles. So if you end up having a problem with it and you decide after 3 years it's a great test drive, I don't want this. This is too much trouble for me. Or if you love it, you can always buy it out.
Okay, here's a perfect example. Say a X SUV, you buy it, and then they all catch fire.
Do we want to say that?
I'm just saying. It just is a theoretical. Okay. They all catch fire. What's the value of those going to be like in the used market?
Not great.
But if you lease it, then you already know what the value is at the end of it. I hope nothing happens and no one catches fire.
Me too. What do OEMs say about their supply issues and their chip issues? Why do they advertise for cars that they don't have in supply? Well, you have to keep promoting your brand, of course. They actually don't say much about it. We do ask, and they really don't give us a lot of information.
Well, they're working through it week to week, month to month. The other thing you got to remember, budgets are set. These are huge companies, right? Massive companies. The budgets are set for marketing, for PR, for all of the different things that they're doing. So they're spending the money whether they have cars or not.
And you know, it's not just hybrids and EVs and PHEVs, because a follower just sent me a message this morning saying that he's decided to go with the CX-50. And it's an 8-month wait time for that.
So Ford, I'm seeing ads now on YouTube, love YouTube, saying if you order X vehicle, they were promoting the F-150 pickup truck.
Right.
If you order the F-150 pickup truck, you can lock in the interest rate, their discounted interest rate as of today, at 5% instead of maybe it being 7, 8, 9%. So that's what they're doing. They're using marketing to get people interested in their brand.
But you were saying that's like a one-time thing,
well,
like through this promotion.
Yeah, we'll see.
Other brands are not doing that, because I've been getting a lot of complaints from people who've had to wait for example, a RAV4 hybrid for up to a year. And by the time it comes in, the interest rates are much higher than what they started at. And they will not make an adjustment for them. With the new types of small trucks like the Maverick and Santa Cruz, do you know or believe there will be more and or smaller ones?
I don't think they're going to go any smaller than Maverick. The bed is pretty tiny and really limited in its capabilities.
I agree.
But I want one. Oh, I want a Maverick.
Well, there's rumors that Toyota is going to be coming out with a small pickup truck, which I think will be huge for Toyota. I mean, the Tacoma is just like so crazy popular, and resale value on it is unbelievable. So I can definitely see Toyota doing something like that. Well, and I like the Santa Cruz and the Maverick.
I just think the Maverick's the one to get. And the whenever there's something that's that popular, it just blew up when it came into the marketplace.
Yeah.
Others will come into the space. I'm not sure if it's going to be Toyotas or others, but I bet you there'll be other small vehicles.
With the infotainment updates on the Venza, do you still think that a base NX 350h is a better buy than the limited Venza? The limited Venza comes with so many great features. I mean, that thing is fully loaded, but what it doesn't get is heated rear seats, if that's something you're interested in. You know, I think that they're very different. The NX to me feels more refined than the Venza, but I'm not going to put the Venza down. It's all about luxury versus non-luxury. Do you want the Lexus badge?
The other thing is, you know, some Toyota hybrids are kind of pokey to drive. I would say the Venza is kind of in that camp.
Yeah.
And they take that basic powertrain and then they put in a larger electric motor for the NX. So it gets around some of that pokiness. It's a lot more spirited to drive. It's more fun to drive. I would say if you drove them back to back, you would be shocked at the difference, even though at the essence, it's the same drivetrain.
Yes. Do you think dealer supplies will improve in the next year or two? I can't buy a car without test driving it. And last summer, it was a challenge to even find dealers with cars to drive. So true. Now, the only way to get around that is to order the vehicle. Of course, you want a refundable deposit. When the vehicle comes in, you can drive it. If you don't like it, you don't have to take it. But I agree with you. Things have got to change. I mean, the days that you could go to a dealership and drive one of their vehicles and you would know on the spot whether you like it or not is gone for now anyway.
All right, so we have had to borrow some cars from Applewood Kia out in Langley. They've been, you know, if there's a car we can't get, we've been able to get it through them. And I was talking to the general sales manager there, and he has a big fight with his salespeople because he will not sell the last model.
Nice.
He keeps it in the dealership for people to come in for test drives. And they're like, well, I've got a guy who'll pay $30,000 over MSRP if you could sell it. He goes, no, because I need a car for people to test drive. That's smart. That's what dealers should. They should keep one vehicle back and let people try it.
Yeah. Thoughts on a budget subcompact SUV for $25,000? So I don't know if this is Canadian or US.
Let's do it both, Andrea.
We'll do both.
Well, I would choose probably the value leader based on two factors. You get a lot of equipment in the car for not a lot of money, and it's actually a really good size. It's a great alternative to a compact SUV is the Kia Seltos.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I agree with you. I think that's a good option. There's also the Kona as well, if you're interested in that.
A little smaller though.
Yeah, in the US, because the pricing is less, for that $25,000 price point, you could look at the Corolla Cross. That will fall into your category. CX-30 from Mazda, as well as the Volkswagen Taos. All of those start around that $25,000 US price point. In Canada, all of those models are over the $25,000 price point.
Of the ones you mentioned in the US, so I would say if you want the most space, it's going to be the Volkswagen Taos. If you want the most fun, it's going to be the Mazda. And if you want the most practical, it's going to be the Corolla.
Corolla Cross?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could choose between the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV or the Kia Sorrento PHEV, which one would you recommend?
So they're choosing these two because they're three-row SUVs.
That's right.
However, the Kia does not have a bench seat in the middle, so it only takes 6 passengers, and the Mitsubishi up to 7, right?
That's right.
So,
but a tiny third row.
Tiny third row
Yeah.
for little people.
Yeah, very little people.
All right, so which one would you choose, Andrea? 3, 2, 1. Kia.
Sorrento. Yeah, I would definitely choose the Sorrento. They have about the same starting price point. The Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid does get up there in price. That top trim is more than the Sorrento. And also in the US, the Sorrento plug-in hybrid just has one trim now. So you kind of get that fully loaded in the US. Still have a few trims in Canada. I just like the Sorrento better. I like the fuel economy that the Sorrento offers. A lot of people are saying that the Outlander plug-in hybrid is just not getting that fuel economy when the battery is depleted.
If you look at it just on paper, the Outlander has more range. But we're starting to hear some grumbles from people who have got the first shipment and are driving them. They're not happy with the fuel economy they're getting. And we're starting to hear some rumbles around transmission issues with the Outlander. So that's why, I mean, we like driving it, especially if you put it in the power setting. It was loads of fun to drive. But I think that the Kia hybrids have been in the market long enough now that they're kind of proving themselves.
And the recent JD Power Dependability Study for 2023 has Kia at the top. So the brand is doing very well right now. First, love your channel. Thank you. Second, will the Toyota Grand Highlander be the only Highlander produced for 2024, or will we still see a regular Highlander? And if so, will it be redesigned like the Grand Highlander? I really like the new design of the Grand Highlander, but would like to see it on the regular model.
Well, the regular Highlander only came out like 2 years ago, so it hasn't been in the market to me 3 years ago. So it would be up ready for a facelift on the 4th year. So It would only be a facelift, though.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to look like the Grand Highlander until they do a full redesign. So I wouldn't expect that. But I agree with you. That Grand Highlander looks great. And that front grille has a real Lexus vibe to it. I think Toyota did a great job with it. But we don't expect a Highlander, a regular Highlander, to get a full redesign quite yet.
But to answer the question, yes, it's staying in the market. Well, the Highlander's not going anywhere.
Why doesn't Subaru market the Forester Hybrid in North America? And why doesn't Toyota offer the Corolla Cross Hybrid yet? Well, the Corolla Cross Hybrid is coming. We are driving it at the end of March.
This month, yeah.
Yeah. So we're pretty excited about that. So it is coming. It's just taken a little bit of extra time to come to market.
Well, Subaru has to introduce some other products into the market. They have one electric vehicle, that's the Solterra. They had one hybrid with the Crosstrek, which is now being canceled. So they need some future technology vehicles in the marketplace, or else they pay penalties.
Yeah.
Right? There are penalties for zero emission mandates. Now, their full electric kind of gets around that, but the market has spoken. People want better fuel economy, and they got to do something about it.
For sure. They've got to start bringing plug-in hybrids and hybrids to the market. We talked to Subaru about that, but they don't tell us when it is going to happen. Do you have any insight or even just personal opinions on when we might see the innovation curve start to level off on EVs? Does it happen with solid-state batteries in a few years? It's so amazing how much innovation is happening right now, but also makes me wary of jumping into the game too soon. That's a great question, isn't it?
The analogy I always talk about is like you're in the smartphone cycle. You're waiting to get a new smartphone. Do I wait 6 more months for the all-new one, or buy the one now? I mean, it's a little longer, obviously, with cars, but it's the same kind of thing. We're not seeing huge breakthroughs in battery technology. We're seeing incremental improvements. To your point, I think if and when we see solid-state batteries, that could be the next big hurdle, but we'll have to wait.
I was speaking to a product specialist from a brand at an auto show that we were recently at, and we were talking about solid-state batteries and the research that's going into it. And he said, you know, the great thing about a solid-state battery is that they will be smaller and they will provide maybe 1,000 kilometers of range, which is pretty amazing.
How much are they going to be, Andrea?
That's what he said. But he said then we're going to go through another process where that brands will adapt a solid-state battery, but your prices will go up again.
Well, they'll be in the high-end versions, right?
That's right.
So if it's going to be the BMWs and the high-end cars that you can bake the cost of the battery into the product. But if you're talking about mainline cars, you know, we're into this whole inflationary period, and we have every single major car brand chasing the same raw materials, whether it's lithium, it's copper, it's nickel, whatever it is that goes into these cells. They're all chasing the materials. So when you have a lot of people going after a finite resource, they have to mine more. But right now, the prices are going up. They're not going down.
And things are always going to change. And that's why the previous question about EVs, is leasing a good idea? I say, yeah, it's a good idea, especially if you want the newest and the latest. Do you and Zach have a favorite color interior of all time?
Yes, black.
I know. Most people love black. Black. But it is so common to me. Yes. I bought an NX
What color jacket
hybrid.
are you wearing, Andrea? You're wearing a black leather jacket.
Fine, but I'm also wearing pink,
because it's
Zach.
the black leather jacket is the gold standard for a leather jacket. It is for a leather jacket.
I bought an NX hybrid with the red interior. Nice. And I love it, but was stumped at what color to order next for my NX 450 Plus.
By the way, I just want to jump into the NX 4 because I have pictures. Look at these pictures.
Yes.
I think it looks, we had the blue one with the light tan interior.
Yeah.
Looked really smart, Andrea.
Yeah,
I would
it
even go for
did.
that. I would even think long and hard about a black interior with that one. I'd probably go with that color, yeah.
Wow, I might hold him to it.
But we're not getting an
one
NX,
day.
so it's easy for me to say.
One of my favorites of all time is the Alfa Romeo Giulia. Our press vehicle that we drove had a green exterior and this gorgeous brown interior.
The camera didn't really do it justice. It looked good on camera. It looked fantastic in person. It was much richer in real life. But anyway, I agree with Andrea. The other one that I was, in the last year, that I like the most, the interior I like the most for color, was the Kia Sportage or Sportage Hybrid with the brick red interior. I thought that looked really smart.
Yeah, and it's great when manufacturers offer more interior colors. Sometimes your only option is black. Another one that was great as well was the Subaru Forester, also in that rich tan
That did look good.
brown interior. It was really nice too.
So if I don't go black, I think I'm going to go for a nice tan interior. But some tan interiors look cheap. Others look good. Here's a cheap looking one. This is the Chrysler Pacifica minivan.
Oh,
it was like an orangey barf color.
Yeah.
And
We didn't
and if
like
you
that.
if you've ever had kids, you've seen orange barf. It's a real thing. And
We have.
and
Even
then-
in a restaurant.
And then in
came out.
the Alfa Romeo, you had that beautiful color. So I
Yeah.
think it really comes down to the tone.
Fun story about that Alfa Romeo. It brought back a lot of memories for us, because when Zach and I were in Italy, he really wanted this duffel bag that was sold in a market in Venice. And we kept going
Actually,
back and forth, walking, because he couldn't make a decision. I said, just buy it. Guess what? We did buy it, and I think we've used it once.
It's a trophy bag.
But it's beautiful. I mean, it is a stunning bag. And
Every-
beautiful leather.
The 2 times I've used it, people go, wow,
I know.
that's a nice bag.
That's
Well,
it.
thank you. I got it in Venice.
Maybe we'll pass it on to our youngest
It's going
son
in the
when
will.
he goes out for his weekend getaways. I don't know.
It's going in the will, Andrea.
Anyway, it was a fun experience. I really enjoyed in the heat of Venice.
Come
going
on.
back
Listen,
and
what
forth.
else are you going to do in Venice? You got to walk over all the bridges. I forced you to see the sights, one leather shop at a time.
He really did. Anyway, we always have a lot of fun on vacation. So it was great. And that's it for our Questions, Coffee, and Cars segment. Thank you for those who participated. You had some great questions, as always.
So make sure you subscribe. That helps a lot. I think a lot of people that watch these are already subscribed. But if you're new here, we'd love for you to subscribe and also follow on Instagram to get the questions in. And we'll see you next time.